It's a wild time for college ball. The big story, though, out of this entire kind of cycle is Nico Iamaleava. He leads the Tennessee Volunteers to a college football playoff appearance in Columbus, Ohio. In Columbus, they lose to the Buckeyes, which would go on to win the national championship. Freezing, below freeze,
so cold.
Chilling cold. Cracked 2 helmets. He earned our respect because he just kept getting up after getting pounded through the frozen turf. Then we hear he is sitting out or holding out of practice because he wants a new deal. Then, obviously, there's reports happening around the internet, around the college football world. Josh Pate was on the other day of Pate State, and he said that, his representatives were basically saying he's going to get more money, he needs more money, and he's not the only one. He just so happened to be a star quarterback that this takes place. He enters the portal. Now we don't know what's going to happen with him. Pete, what do we know about this situation? What's real? What's not real? And where does Nico end up at, you think, Authority? Because it seems like from the internet, it's like not a lot of schools are still in the Nico Iamaleava running or whatever.
So let's start with his market, Pat. And this is we have a story up on ESPN.com. Max Olson and I did it. We dove into this, and this is what I have distilled from talking to kind of sources on all sides. What is certain about Nico's market is that he will not get what he's asking, and he will not get the $4 million-ish that was desired from Tennessee, which would be top of the market in this college football 2025 season. That is not going to happen. What's expected is he's going to get less than he was making, which was somewhere in the low to mid $2 million range as part of his initial, then historic deal that got him to Tennessee. What's happening right now is that his market is dropping right now. It's bottoming out. And I am not going to be hyperbolic and say he has nowhere to go or he's not going to end up anywhere, because he is a very good player and he is better than, I would think a majority of college quarterbacks. So there will be someone who takes Nico. There are very distinct headwinds working against him right now. One is he skipped practice, ditched his team, and he has reputational damage right now. That is real. What has struck me, Pat, from calling all these schools that maybe have some quarterback uncertainty and that could have potentially taken Nico, saying, hey, what do you think? They're not just like, nah, no thanks. They're like, my God, no. Like, we don't want that in our building. That's against our culture. I was surprised at the tenor of the no's that have popped up around the marketplace. So where he ends up going is going to depend on a market reset. And I think those who have modest interest are being patient. They're going to wait for the reality of his market to check in. Because simply put, it's very difficult to walk into a building in mid-April, win over the team, learn the offense, win the job in 3 weeks of camp, and go thrive as a starting quarterback. I mean, even think about Riley Leonard last year, Pat. He didn't really play good football until October, and some of it was he just hadn't played in the offense much. He wasn't used to his teammates. He wasn't used to his receivers, the timing. There's a very real part of that in quarterback play that's going to come into play here. And if you're taking Nico at this point, it's a high leverage risk. You are bringing all the eyeballs of the college football world and really the sports world to your program. You're going to have to pay a decent amount of money, and if it backfires on you, that is going to be a difficult thing for a coach to overcome. So the headwinds are real. The market is not nearly what was perceived to be by his people initially, and how it unfolds, we'll see.
I would like to say this, and thank you for all that information. Pete is plugged in everywhere around college ball. It is an honor to watch you work the phones and relationships and also the information that you have and what you can say and can't say. So I appreciate all that. I will say this. This is a teenager with millions of dollars at stake in a world that doesn't have any rules. So he's the first person, obviously, that is going through this particular situation. Obviously, it has not ended up being great at the time, but I will say with these eyes, he's a dog. And if you get him on the field, he'll be an absolute dog. But I could definitely see, especially in college where culture is a much bigger deal and you're trying to build and everything, and the NIL, get the right pieces in here, not the wrong pieces in here. Somebody is going to end up with Nico. Nico's going to be a millionaire playing football this upcoming season somewhere. And I'll be excited to see revenge.
Yeah.
I'll be excited to see how Nico responds. I'll be excited to see what type of teammate he is. There's a lot of good that can come from this bad situation for Nico, or it could just end up being Tulane's no longer interested. They're not there is a lot of that chatter happening around the internet. Yeah, Tulane was not interested allegedly because of the price. Who knows? I mean, it is a wild scene. This seemingly was inevitable.
Yeah.
And now we're meeting it head on for the first time. Hopefully they're able to work this thing out. Go ahead, D-Budge.
Yeah, with all that being said and everything you just said, I'm going to go back to even before we spoke to you, other coaches, I found it interesting, other coaches and other programs who typically kind of stay out of other schools, businesses, came out and kind of took a stance. What's the reality of some collusion going on behind the scenes, I guess, against Nico when it comes to getting him at this level? Is that real? Is that a real possibility, or do you think no way?
I don't think so, Deba. It's a little bit harder in college to collude. Like college sports is a Star Wars bar, right? There's 60 something Power 5 schools right now, and what it would take to align all of them. I mean, they can't even agree to have cream cheese on a bagel or not, right? So
Definitely don't.
I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical that there would be collusion here. I think. Simply put, another factor here, guys, is a lot of people already have paid their quarterbacks for 2025. In what is going to be a slotted salary world, I mean, think about it from an NFL perspective. Nico is a middle-range SEC quarterback. I think he was 9th in the SEC in QBR. So in the NFL, that would make him, a $25 million, $30 million quarterback? You just can't, wake up and add a guy like that when you already have a starting quarterback figure on your books. Now, this is all a smaller sample size in college, but I do think that's real. That a lot of places the money is accounted for in that sense, and there's time spent and time invested. And an interesting flip on this, Pat, is that Tennessee's really struggling to get a replacement for him because of the same reasons. What quarterback is going to walk out on their team that they've just had spring practice with, that they've signed a contract with and committed with? They're having a very difficult time getting an established Power 4 right now, I guess, starter to come in, seemingly we would assume at that Nico slot financially, just because it's a really tough look. And we've seen this the last few seasons. There's been quarterback need at big thumper programs, and they've knocked on doors in this portal period, and people have thought about it, but it's difficult to get over the optics of walking out of that locker room, the same optics, quite frankly, that Nico's facing right now, as teams are vetting him to take him.
Any chance at all Nico heads back to Tennessee, or is that not possible if you enter the transfer portal?
Considering publicly what his side said today, and look, Josh Heupel had to cut ties after he skipped practice. I think it's highly, 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 highly unlikely. I would never say never, but I would think it's a less than 1% chance. And I think it's, in a lot of ways, Pat, it is the best place for him, right? He had a very good first year as a starter. In that Heupel system, if you look back historically, the guys really get locked and loaded in the second year. That's when everything becomes, they really have it mastered and everything becomes second nature. So Tennessee upgraded its offensive line. They have better receivers. Nico was not in a great position to thrive last year, and he played well. Struggled in some big games, but he generally played well. I would have thought he would really emerge as a top 5 SEC quarterback this season. And but I do not, just considering how tense things are right now, I'd be pretty shocked if a reunion happened.
Well, maybe. You never know, right?
Do not contact.
Shake their hands.
You never know. You could go shake their hands, especially because they already have the money slotted and allotted. And if he finds out other places not as great, it could be like, hey, first time through this, we all make mistakes. Let's move forward. I would like to reiterate the fact. So we have 10 seconds here, so we're not going to be able. West Virginia could certainly just put money together and potentially get Nico Iamaleava as their quarterback.
Sounds like it.
That's a hard edge down there. We were chatting there during the break quickly. Nico Iamaleava, I know there's a lot of negative reputation stuff around him right now. He's 20 years old, 19 years old. He redshirt freshman last year, whatever it is. First time dealing with big business here for anybody. Was it handled properly in a lot of people's eyes? No, I guess that's kind of the thing. But there has to be a way to get back. There has to be a way. Just strictly because what I saw from him at Ohio State, it hurt to walk at Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
With how cold it was. It was so cold. This dude's from California, playing in the SEC. He cracks 2 of his helmets in this game. 2 of his helmets get cracked because he's just getting pounded through the turf. And he just got up every single time. Went to run. Young lad, still has a lot of years left on him. Obviously, the arm talent, he's going to only get better, you would assume, with the more football that he plays. But the whole standing out, holding out, really goes against everything that the old college football used to be. So I think that's why it's such a negative reaction. But college, you're supposed to live and learn. You know, you're supposed to move on. You're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to get better. I hope they're able to figure this out because I really enjoyed watching him play football. I really enjoyed watching that position from that school on that night in that weather perform the way it did. Getting their ass beat too.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like hey, we're gonna go win a national championship. It's like you're losing. It's cold as shit. He could have quit and acted like prima donna diva at any moment, and instead he just kept getting up and kept going. It's like I have mad respect for that. This whole situation, not great, but I think they can work through it. Everything can get worked through, you would assume, in this world.
Yeah, and I think, people are the number and everything, and Pete just said like he was the, 9th best quarterback based on quarterback rating in the SEC. I think if you took a poll of like college football fans across the United States right now, 99% would look at their current quarterback and be like, hey, if I could have Nico Iamaleava, like I would take him in a heartbeat. And it's tough because like you said, he's a kid too, and it makes everything just, again, we don't know the whole situation. So, a lot of stuff's being said about his dad and his representatives right now. But if that is the case, like for a 19-year-old kid, like you're going to listen to your dad. You know what I mean? Like you can't expect a kid in his position to just be like, hey, dad, shut up.
Well,
you don't know what you're talking
and now
about.
his dad, obviously, is allegedly, okay?
Right. Because who knows what's actually going on.
This is, once again, and obviously 2025 is a vastly different world than many other eras, okay? So there is sources and conversations happening rapidly at all times on the internet, on the number one news platform on planet Earth, on X. And there's a lot of things, boom, boom, boom. And a lot of it is all going back to representatives. And who's representing him? Well, not actual representatives, it's his family. And a lot of people saying, well, it's his dad. And then there's obviously a lot of jokes being lobbed at his dad. The internet's good at those.
Oh, right.
The internet is good at those, very clever, obviously, bringing things together in that whole thing. But if it is the dad's probably just trying, and I don't like to make excuses for everybody, but the dad's probably like, hold on. We just watched what Carson Beck just got. We just watched this kid from high school up to Michigan just get, 4 years, $16 million or whatever it's supposed to be. Nico just led you to this. So, like, I feel like there's a lot of good intentions in, like, trying to make the situation as good as possible. It just kind of on all sides. Tennessee doesn't have a quarterback.
No.
This guy allegedly doesn't have a market anymore.
Yeah.
The representatives, whoever it is, if it is his dad, are being looked at as the biggest dipshits on earth.
Right.
And it's like nothing really went well here, but I still think you can pick up the pieces. 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler is here. Business is new, this college football business. There's no guardrails, there's no rules. There's no comps. There's no publicly submitted in like actual official documents, contracts for anybody's price. So it's kind of just like literally just throwing darts. It's like a guessing game at this point. This situation is the first of, I think, an inevitability coming, and hopefully we're able to kind of settle it, and hopefully there's a situation afterwards where it doesn't happen again.
Unfortunately, and obviously Nico is he's right in the spotlight of it. He's the first big time athlete, big time quarterback at that to be in it. So I hope it all pans out for him. And like you said, I think it is a misstep. You definitely had good intentions for him. And to your point, Ty, yeah, that's the person. These are the people who have been looking out for your best interest your entire life. So you're not just going to steer away from them and their advice at this point in the game. But once again, the most important thing to me is these young kids, and we saw it firsthand. This is a competitor. This is a guy that obviously loves to play football. He could have tapped out early in that game, thinking about his future, what money he wanted the following year, all these different things, and he didn't. He kept battling his ass off. So I hope it all works out. He gets another opportunity, whether that be with Tennessee or with another squad, regardless of the money.
We just made up Tennessee, by the way. Nobody is saying he's going back to Tennessee.
Just talking about it, because this happens in...
It would make sense.
Yeah, we see it. This is the Wild Wild West right now in college.
Miles Garrett.
Yeah, we see it happen in professional sports all the time with players who misread the market or misread, where they are. Maybe turn down a contract and get hurt the following year. Whatever happens, that's what happens in sports. But the competitive nature of everybody, the coaches, the teams, the programs, ultimately, you want to put your best team out there. You want to be in the best opportunity if you're a player. So hopefully they figure it out.
I'd like to see Nico continue to grow as a football player.
Absolutely.
Like me personally.
Same.
Tall.
Yeah, in Heupel's offense.
And also, volleyball guy, Ray,
Yeah.
can jump. He's got like 45-inch vertical. So like
Great athlete.
his everything for him is only up and to the right, I think personally. So I don't like that this is a potential holdback, because it's like Nico's supposed to be a guy in our sport for a long, long time. So let's make sure we don't fuck that up.
He's gonna have to wear it too. It's tough, especially a young kid, like, the spotlight. So anytime you throw an interception or incompletion or any of the game, like that matters. That's something big on you. So how do you react to that? How do you?
He's going to take a lot of heat for everything he does wrong going forward.
Yes.
He's going to be known as the guy that held out of practice for the first time as a quarterback of a team and said, "I don't want to be here unless you give me more money," in something that used to be an amateur sport where no money was being given. He's going to have to wear that forever. But that might be a mental toughness thing that he's able to kind of use and go forward with. You would hope. Exactly.
Cam Newton and all the different things. He went undefeated, won the Heisman, won the national championship. They still said those things. Went #1 overall pick, won MVP, went to the Super Bowl, didn't jump on the ball. So you're always gonna have to deal with this shit. But if he can have the mental fortitude and the focus like a Cam Newton had to still go on and have that great career.
Cam Newton, Hall of Famer in my eyes, by the way. Just so we have that out there. Him jogging on the field. I think we played him in the preseason his rookie year. I think the Colts played him in preseason or early in his rookie year. And me and Vinatieri just saw this defensive end jog by us. And then he had so much energy. And like everybody just rallied around him. It was like, I think Vinatieri said, if that guy figures out our league, that's pretty problematic.
I was on that team.
And he did figure it out.
Yeah.
And he became like the maestro of the entire city of Charlotte. We played him on a Monday night, and he took over. And they had sound effects for him, the Superman sound effects whenever he was having. They played it. They got down in the goal line, and the stadium played like the Superman music. And it's like basically everybody in America knows what's about to happen, and he did.
Inevitable.
And then he would have 2-hour celebrations.
Oh yeah,
Awesome. And nobody cared about, everybody was like, yeah, Cam scored. I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's getting the ball. He jogged the entire length of the field, I think. And everybody was just cool with it. It was like,
forgot the ball, right? Had to jog all the way back and then jog all the way back.
3 times. It was like a full Cam. I was at a Cam Newton show on Monday Night Football against Carolina Panthers. And I think all the way back from his freestyling at JUCO, he had eyes on him and hate on him for a long, long time. And he showed up. He said something about chicken wings and George Washington's the other day. I don't know what he was talking about. I felt like he was talking about an establishment.
Good combination for a celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. You need the George Washingtons to buy the chicken wings. Of course. That is why. One's only.
Exactly.
Bingo.
But the way he was talking about it didn't sound like they were just eating. I think there was a show. I think there was a potential.
Dinner of the show.
Dinner of the show. Love it. It's like Vegas.
What's better than live entertainment?
Bingo.
Especially people performing at a high level. What? Yeah, you're watching greats do great things. I mean, obviously that is. Cam, keep going, man. Love watching him. He's electrifying.
Oh, yeah.
The way everything about him.
Yeah.
Electric. Every day he dresses like that.
It's incredible.
You watch a workout video, he's dressed.
Yeah.
Loves fashion. His first time on ESPN, they had a split screen of him and somebody, and he had one of the hats. He had 4 polos on.
Yep. Huge.
The whole thing. I was like, you are the greatest, dude. I am so happy.
One of one.
He never changed.
Yeah.
Never changed. Absolute dog. But back to your point, Nico is going to have those types of, and it's earned because everybody knows you. We remember him in the pajamas.
Yep.
Throwing the ball 100 yards or whatever it was. It was like from that moment forward, everybody knows you.
It has to be we know this is the most important position in all of sports. It has to be the reason when Pete says, there's no interest right now. That has to be because of something off the field, whether it's the asking price or the representation or whatever. Because if the asking price is reasonable and everything else is reasonable, he should have got a ton of interest. I thought for sure. I thought locked in USC was going to go after him in a Lincoln Riley offense. He is a California kid. They don't have a quarterback who they started the season. He was a replacement quarterback from last season. I thought USC would be a complete fit. Apparently they're out. I don't understand why teams are out. It has to be something, whether it's
strictly because everybody feels disrespected. Everybody feels like this guy disrespected college ball.
They got to set the standard right there. They draw the line in the sand for the coach. That's why I asked the collusion question about Pete, and I knew what his answer was going to be. But I mean, that's got to be a realistic question because. But
Lincoln's got to win. Lincoln don't give a fuck about the collusion thing right now.
I thought that was going to be Pete's answer. Pete basically said he said it's a Star Wars bar.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
I laughed.
understand the
I didn't
reference,
get that
but
either.
I get the reference. There's
Right.
a lot of characters in Star Wars.
Exactly. Mos Eisley Cantina, there's a lot of different kinds of people there, obviously,
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah. You're not just getting, a bunch of the same people. It's kind of everybody's got a different bag with them.
Who are some of the people?
I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, so
Jabba
I
the
could,
Hutt.
I couldn't-
Boba.
Yeah, there you go. Boba Fett,
Yoda.
Grogu, characters of this nature. Sure, yeah.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, Ahsoka, obviously. Obi-Wan, maybe like
Obi-2.
maybe like a Darth Maul.
There it is.
Something
Yeah.
of that,
Qui-Gon
of that
Jinn.
nature. Yeah, sure. Samuel L. Jackson. Jar Jar Binks, obviously from the back. Thank you. Samuel L. Jackson was in one of the Star Wars. Mace Windu, I believe,
There
is
it
his
is.
name.
Yep.
Characters of that ilk. You could say.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ty P.
You bet.